innovative ideas. And I think I would count this as one of the years where I've enjoyed working with you and your team to work through a very, very important year in India's journey of growth. I wish you all the very best in your future endeavors. Remain connected, as are all our dear past presidents. My best wishes to you, Anant, for an opportunity that will hold you in very good stead. It's a great platform which will help you evolve in terms of people connect, in terms of a much wider macro vision for yourself, for the country. And I'm sure you'll do the work very, very honorably. Mr. Vijay Sankar, you'll have to now plan 2 years in Delhi. But I'm so delighted to see the youthful energy in the leadership team of FICCI that all these three young gentlemen present. Congratulations, well done, my best wishes. Ms. Jyoti Vij, all the distinguished past presidents, members of FICCI who have joined us today, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. Truly delighted to be amongst all of you to celebrate 98 years of an organization that is very, very symbolic of our own independence struggle, of our own industrial forays, and the last 98 years, the very important role that FICCI has played is truly etched in record books, as we just saw while we unveiled the 100-year logo of FICCI. It's an organization that has proud lineage, being founded at the behest of Mahatma Gandhi ji. And the theme that you have chosen today resonates perfectly with Mahatma Gandhi's vision, self-reliant economic powerhouse. I think that's truly something that we have learned through centuries in India as a very important theme of human existence. In fact, only 2 days back on 26th, we were celebrating Constitution Day, Samvidhan Divas. In a way, that was the first declaration that India will stand on its own feet. We'll have our own constitution. We'll decide our own destiny, our own future, our own children's well-being will be built around a constitution which to my mind is the best constitution anywhere in the world. And that brings strength to the India story. It's a commitment of 140 crore people, 140 crore Indians, a commitment to our sovereignty, a commitment to our self-respect, a commitment to our self-reliance that will take this country to the next level. In fact, self-reliance is nothing new. It's been in Bharat's DNA ever since history presents its records, ever since. It's been in our civilizational fabric. If I may quote from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 5. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Lord Krishna says, one must elevate oneself by the self. Nobody else is going to come and tell you what's good for you, what you need to do. You yourself are the architect of your own destiny, of your own future. You know what's good or bad for you the best. Nobody else can come and teach you that. And if we have to elevate the country to the next level, we all have to do it. It's our collective energy that will take India to the next level. In fact, Gandhiji made Swadeshi the most important tool in his struggle for independence. It was Swadeshi and the focus on Atmanirbharta which brought the country together. And we've seen that under different leaders over the years. When Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee was in government, he took the bold decision to go nuclear as a self-defense tool for India. But that, to date, I think remains a very important lesson for all of us, that our national security has to be determined and under the control of ourselves. In fact, many other countries who did not go down the path of self-reliance in national security are facing a lot of stress today. In that same thread, Prime Minister Narendra Modi brought the vision of self-reliance through the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat to the center of our economic progress, to the center of our thinking about what India will do. And today, Atmanirbhar Bharat has become a collective mission of all of us. Every Indian, in his own way, is contributing towards that vision, towards that journey. Modi ji had made a very telling comment once. There is only one medicine for 100 sorrows, and that is self-reliant India. We will face stress, we will have problems, we will have challenges come and go. How well we are prepared to face those challenges is going to determine our future, our success. If you see our own journey, maybe of the last 25 years, after the nuclear tests at Pokhran, we had sanctions, we had serious challenges before the nation. Nation progressed faster than ever before. From a growth rate of about 4% in 1998 that Vajpayee ji had inherited just before the Pokhran blasts, we grew the economy to over 8% growth. I think it was 8.4% in 2004. And he left behind a very strong economy, very strong fundamentals of the economy in 2004, which was even acknowledged by the then Finance Minister, Mr. Chidambaram, in his first budget speech, that he has a great platform on which he can build. History went the wrong way, that's unfortunate. And every other challenge that we have faced over the years, COVID did not deter India. We did face severe stress, but we came out honorably. We have grown ever since as the fastest growing large economy on the planet. And therefore, your theme of today resonates very deeply with our own ideology. Of course, I was seeing your logo. Orange seems to be the flavor of the day. Well, that orange was our original ideologue, Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay, had also spoken very strongly about self-reliance. In his speech, where he articulated the vision of integral humanism, which is a guiding principle for all of us today in government, he had said, and I quote, "Self-reliance isn't merely an economic principle. It is a principle that shapes the nation's character." And he had very well articulated that it is the holistic human being's development that truly matters, that will define India's journey of growth. Today, I heard Harshvardhan Agarwalji talk about several factors that are important in our journey in the Amrit Kal. Whether it's innovation, whether it's skilling, whether it's the involvement of women and youth. The My formula nowadays has become very famous, and the Mahila Youth formula, and leads to even political successes. In fact, there was a time when most people would think good economics doesn't make for good politics. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has changed this old thinking, this old paradigm, and proven that good economics can make for good politics also. And look at the advantages that we have. In innovation, we are most cost competitive. Our young demographic dividend, the young population of India, provides us the strength on the back of which we can truly imagine or truly plan for large-scale innovation in the country. Day before yesterday, we had the Swiss minister come to engage with us on how we can expand investments from Switzerland and the EFTA countries. I'm sure you're all aware that the four-nation EFTA bloc, as a part of the FTA, committed to invest $100 billion in FDI, which will largely be innovation, which will largely be precision manufacturing. But that innovation in India, which will be probably at 1/5 the cost they would do it in Switzerland, or in Liechtenstein, or in the US, or in Europe, which will happen at 1/5 that cost, will also need a mindset change. Will also need all of us to be willing to get out of the old culture where we were stuck on thinking which was 30 years behind our times. I was just sharing with somebody the other day, probably we could have done our FTAs with UK and European Union and with this EFTA bloc 25 years ago, but for the fixation in our mind that we have to protect the auto industry and wines and spirits. And what were we protecting? We were protecting a mindset that was not futuristic in its thinking. That was very, very backward in its thinking. Competition always brings more efficiency, always brings more choice for the consumer. It helps us look at our competitive advantages and go forward for the good of the nation. Similarly, when we looked at different sectors of the economy, we realized that we still have a long way to go in terms of inculcating that spirit of inquiry in our youth. And I think if FICCI is taking this up as a mission, it'll really do India a lot of good. It'll really help spur growth, faster growth, greater investment in innovation, R&D. In fact, no nation has become a developed nation so far without significant investment and effort on research and development. And from the side of the government, we have come forward with several programs to support our startup ecosystem, the deep tech ecosystem, our innovation. And mind you, every rupee that we spend in innovation in India is equivalent to 5 or 7 in the Western world. So when government gives a $12 billion RDI fund, Research, Development and Innovation Fund, coupled with the private sector's own contribution to the research project, the strength of our academia and our science and technology graduates, we are looking at a maybe $150 billion R&D on a purchasing power parity basis coming out of India. But we'll have to have laws which will accept and encourage innovation in the country, which will protect scientific inventions, and which will guide people around the world to look at India as their destination for R&D and innovation. I liked your point about skilling, and we have a big advantage in skilling. Most of the developed world today has an aging population problem. With an aging population, there's one other problem, very much related, and that is a very mature mind which has got used to a certain way of working and thinking. To change that mind, to adapt emerging technologies and new way of working is not easy. I mean, we can all look into our own selves. Our children adopt technology, they are very fast on the uptake compared to us. And therefore, you will find in most developed countries, gradually a large number of people are getting into social welfare, are living off social welfare. They are not able to adapt to changing times, changing technologies. With a youthful population in India, connected to the net at a very young age, with 1 billion internet users, it's one of the greatest opportunity that we have in India to have smart kids connected to the net, digitally wise, looking at what's happening around the world, experimenting with new ideas, willing to learn newer way of working. We all know that ChatGPT, second largest user base in the world, is today in India. Second largest user base. If we use applied artificial intelligence in a smart manner, we can truly transform the youth of the nation to get them engaged with the most modern of technologies and skill them very quickly. Provide that manpower to the world and have a game-changing, a very impactful presence in the world of technology, in the world of tomorrow. I run a skill development center in my constituency in Mumbai. It's just 1 year old now. And it's a delight every time I visit there to see the enthusiasm of the young boys and girls in picking up some traditional vocations, but a lot of innovative and futuristic activities. Kindle has set up a center for skilling young women in cyber security. They're young women, young girls. Believe me, most of them are coming in from either the slums or very humble background. But they pick it up so fast, 4 months or so, and they're future ready. They are ready to be absorbed in a job at 5 or 6 lakh rupees a year, immediately, with no great past experience, no great background in the family of high-tech work or high-tech activities. So that is an advantage if we leverage, and if FICCI takes this up as a mission, sets up skill development centers across the country, in partnership with industry. The center also in Mumbai is run totally by industry. I have Blue Star there training people on refrigeration technologies. So gives them a pool of trained manpower who do installation, repairs, maintenance. I have ITC there training our young men and women into hospitality, a big area of the future. And the old age hospitality is not going to work in tomorrow. We'll need to be contemporary in all training that we are doing for our youngsters. And I think this can be a truly game-changing, and country's future depends on how well we skill our youth, how well we make our youth employable, help them to dream big, aspire big, and achieve big. And that advantage that we have in India should not be let go. We really need to leverage that. Friends, I was just thinking, how do I present the India story and why self-reliance will be at the core of the India story? We have all seen trade being weaponized. We have all seen the importance of having trusted partners around the world to work with countries who believe in fair trade and equal opportunity, both sides, which is why obviously we are working through a number of free trade agreements with developed nations. We've already concluded very robust, balanced, fair and equitable agreements with Australia, UAE, Mauritius, UK, four-nation EFTA group. At this point of time, we are in talks with 14 countries or group of countries, collectively representing nearly 50 countries around the world. And our focus is on countries of significance, preferably from the developed world, where we complement each other. We are talking to Oman, but at the same time, Bahrain and Qatar want to enter into negotiations. The GCC also is now talking that the whole six-nation group would like to engage. We are talking to New Zealand simultaneously with Australia for a second stage agreement. We are reviewing the ASEAN and Korea free trade agreement to bring in more balance into it. We are in active discussions with the United States and with the 27-nation European Union. We are working with Eurasia, which is the Central Europe group of countries. We just started negotiations probably yesterday or day before yesterday. And we are equally engaged to start discussions, to start negotiations very quickly with Israel, with whom we finalized terms of reference only last week. Canada and India are looking at a comprehensive economic partnership agreement. Next week, we're going to kickstart conversations around that. South Africa and the countries of Southern Africa, SACU group, has expressed a desire to talk business, as has the Mercosur group of countries led by Brazil. I'm just trying to give you a flavor why India is so much in focus. It's because of all of you. And what you represent is a PESTLE. When I was trying to understand why that word came about, I also went into the dictionary meaning, and I realized it resonates very well with me in some sense also, because I started my career in the steel industry. And pestle is a small round tool with a round end used for crushing food. You know, at home, dal kootte hain jaise. But it can also be used in industry. I think many of us in industry are familiar how graphite is made or how so many tools are made. Pestles will tell you the India story. P-E-S-T-L-E. P stands for our political situation, strong, decisive leadership, stable democracy where the rule of law prevails, government policies focused on ease of doing business, reducing compliance burden, reducing paperwork, reducing interference of officials in your business life, in the common man's day-to-day life, policy to open up newer sectors to the private sector. Space was opened up, now nuclear energy has been opened up, defense has already been opened up. A government whose policies are business-friendly, people-friendly, progress-friendly and future-friendly. And apart from political stability, we've also been successful in our tax policies. Direct tax, we're comparable to the best at 25% corporate tax. 12 lakh rupees middle class, almost all out of the tax. Individuals with 12 lakh rupee income out of the tax net. You just saw the transformational GST reforms recently, and you just saw the labor reforms come out, the 4 labor codes. Collectively demonstrating a government proactive in its effort to ease regulations, yet have very robust regulatory frameworks. And therefore, political support or political enabling framework will always be important. And the people of India have not let us down. They have supported the good work Prime Minister Modi has done. Otherwise, in a day and age where governments rarely get a third term, you gave Prime Minister Modi the third opportunity to serve the country. And since then, Maharashtra, Haryana, Delhi, Bihar, see the resounding results one after the other, which encourage us also to do more. ताली तो 2 हाथ से ही बचती है ना. हमारे को भी प्रोत्साहन मिलता है, हमें भी, हमारा भी उत्साहवर्धन होता है, हमारा भी हर्षवर्धन होता है. और हमें भी आनंद आता है, और उसी में से विजय होती है. And since I started my career with power, तभी ज्योति जलती है. The E after P stands for economic. The economic policies. Look at our growth, fastest growing large economy, expected to be the fastest growing for many years to come. Inflation, do I need to say more? The last 10 years, we've seen the lowest in decadal inflation ever in our history since independence. And of course, this year would be a very, very low inflation number. Everybody's waiting for RBI to reflect on the current inflation numbers, I believe. Interest rates today are almost at the level we had them during the Vajpayee era. So we had high interest rates up to 98, came down drastically 99, 2000 to 2004, continuously fell, shot up like crazy from 4 to 14, and since 14 with a robust banking system in place, continuously on the decline. except in the post-COVID period where we had to control inflation through instruments of interest rate. Our unemployment rates are amongst the lowest we have ever seen. Most companies come and tell me, आदमी नहीं मिलते, कामगार नहीं मिलते, employees नहीं मिलते. Despite apparent stress in the apparel industry, the gentleman who started Tirupur came up to me the other day and said, I still need 30,000 more employees in Tirupur, if you can help me get them. Infrastructure companies, including the ones who built this, and I hope you like this place. How many of you have come here for the first time? Quite a few. I'd urge you to walk around, maybe see the Leaders Summit if it's empty. I don't know if something is going on over there, where the G20 was held, and get a feel of the place. It'll show you this is the new India. But they said they don't get workers. I used to monitor it every week. And the first question was, we need X number of people. How many worked in the project last week? And we never crossed 65-70% of our requirement. Couldn't get workers. Lowest unemployment rate and strong macroeconomic fundamentals. Highest foreign exchange reserves we've seen in a long time. Banking system with less than 1% NPAs. Probably less than 0.5% net NPAs, I think. The S stands for the social fabric of the country. Our demography supports us. Young population, 28.5-year average age. India still strongly holds our cultural heritage, traditions, family value systems, which are very important for peace and harmony. Our consumer attitudes are becoming more and more modern. Lifestyles are changing. That also supports consumption story and growth. And education levels are going up. Similarly, the T standing for technological prowess of the country. As you said, we are focused on innovation. We are focused on bringing in newer and newer contemporary technologies, automation, robotics. R&D will help us with emerging technologies. We've just come out with a policy to support rare earth processing so that we become self-reliant in that. And this impact of emerging technologies on products, goods, services will help the country grow faster in the years to come. L is the legal framework. We are proud to be a democracy. The rule of law prevails. And we are amending and changing laws to make them more contemporary, to get out of the colonial mindset. All laws made before 1947 are being changed to make them more relevant to today's times and prepare ourselves for the next 30, 40 years. So you'll see a lot of laws of the past, many obsolete, thrown out of the statute book, many being reformed, including the criminal laws, the Bharatiya Nyaya Sahitas. You're seeing Jan Vishwas Bill 1 already done, 2 before Parliament. We are already preparing for Jan Vishwas Bill 3. That's the pace and speed at which legal reform. Who would have imagined virtual hearings in India? So people from London are appearing also in a court case in India. Hopefully that should reduce adjournment, speed up delivery of justice. Infrastructure has been upgraded for the legal delivery faster. Lok adalats and Jan adalats, or settlement of cases through mediation and arbitration, is being encouraged. Consumer rights today are being respected and honored. Competition rules are quite robust. Our regulatory framework in our RBI is better than the best in the world. SEBI, ADA, doing some fantastic work, recognized and respected world over. And lastly, environment. And with that, you could also link the energy self-sufficiency and energy plans. And clearly, India is one country focused on climate change, focused on sustainability. We recognize the importance, and we'll all have to work collectively as a team so that India will be a global responsible citizen. Even though we are not responsible for the mess up there, our contribution to the carbon up there, barely 3.5%, despite supporting a 17% population. But we remain committed to our Paris goals, intended nationally determined goals. We remain committed to a better future for our children. And it's incumbent on all of us as a team to come up with ideas, to explore new ways. If I can just throw a thought, and if FICCI can take it up, construction, the way we do it today, is clearly a source of a lot of pollution at the local level. We'll have to, at least in the cities to begin with, move into precast construction or construction which is with material prepared outside and just put up. We can't have cement mixers running in cities. But does government have to mandate it? Not necessary. I did the costing also. I found it's not much costlier. You do it much faster, probably save a lot of money on interest costs alone, and delays of construction are saved. But can we collectively resolve? Can all the big industry to begin with resolve? We will not do any construction which is not precast outside cities and towns. Small thing, but everything adds up. Can all the real estate players come together? And when the scale is there, the cost will further reduce. It's a matter of choice. It's a matter of public participation. Because it's when all of us collectively make it our determined goal to solve this problem that we can really find resolution. And I think this framework, both our internal factors and external climate, can help us truly transform the future of India as we enter into the 99th year of FICCI. And I've suggested to the leadership, I spent about half an hour with them before I came here. I've suggested to them that they look at FICCI becoming a global organization, look at FICCI playing a more proactive role as India integrates its economy with the world. Look at FICCI becoming a harbinger of new ideas, changing the mindset of India to prepare ourselves for the next century of FICCI, and take this up as a clarion call for the future. I'm sure that FICCI's contributions, which are many in its first century, will be many-fold bigger and bolder and transformational in its second century. And their role in nation building will help us achieve transformational results in the journey towards Viksit Bharat 2047. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, sir, for your invaluable direction, your clear guidance, and the many pointers that you continue to offer industry. Your leadership not only shapes policy, but also inspires progress, innovation, and confidence across the sector. I'd like to now call upon the President-elect FICCI and the Vice Chairman RPG Group, Mr. Anant Goenka, to please give thanks.
Honourable Minister, it's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of FICCI. Sir, you visited 5 countries only in the last 2 months, Qatar, Germany, Belgium, New Zealand, and Israel. And I didn't have the time to note down the 20 next countries that you mentioned in your speech, but your tireless energy truly inspires us and wants us to do better as industry. Friends, it's really a reminder that India's global engagement is in full throttle. And under your leadership, we are making our presence felt across every corner of the world. Your insights today on Atmanirbharta, on the importance of national security, the Mahila Youth Formula, lean innovation, that economic success can lead to political success, skilling, and the PESTLE framework really inspired confidence that we are on the right track towards a Viksit Bharat in 2047. As we begin our AGM, we reaffirm our commitment as FICCI to supporting the government's reform agenda, and we are committed to working with you in lockstep to make sure that we give priority to innovation, to skilling, ease of doing business, leveraging the various FTAs that you have been working on over the last few months. With your guidance, sir, the collective resolve of the Indian industry, we are confident that in the coming year, we will bring new opportunities, stronger partnerships, and ambitious outcomes. Thank you for gracing this occasion and for your continued support and guidance, sir. Thank you. A big hand.
I'd like to now request all the past presidents of FICCI who are present here to please join our Honorable Minister and guests on the dais for a group picture.